Hello. Just to make sure we're on the same page, this should be on YouTube channel James 13 Wicca. Um, I'll put other information below, like the decks and how to get a reading. I'm just gonna make this really quick. If you're near Herkimer, New York, I am doing personal readings. I'm doing in-person readings near Herkimer, New York. If you want to look that up, if you're near, shoot me an email. I'll tell you the details. Otherwise, you can get a reading from me. Shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. This is James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thank you very much. And let's go ahead and get into your reading. Hello, Leo. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Leo? Double card right off the bat. Like, it's the Two of Cups and the Queen of Cups. So, okay. I think of Leo as just like very communicative. And they talk about what they want to talk about. That's one of the reasons I think Leo has so much success, is because it just comes right out. It just comes right out. And like, I don't know, it's usually works well. What's going on here? What is going on here? So there's a very positive energy currently. I feel like I've returned to something. That's weird. Why do I read? Okay. But you got to be careful. I'm getting, before we get too far into this, something is getting your attention that I feel like looks good in the short term, but something better might be showing up very quickly that may be very hard for you to resist. Keep that in mind. Something is trying to return. I feel weird about that. Like, I don't understand why we're allowing it to return. It's kind of weird. Something's on life support. And I got that's Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles, but it's like this. And this is the Knight of Wands. Right? Something, I've done this before. I feel like it may be a very short stint, maybe a short amount of time, but I've done this before. I've been connected with this before. I've been around this person before. Whatever it is, I feel like there's still a positive energy there. And it just lingers. And it's kind of like, maybe I'll give this a shot. Maybe I'll give this a shot. And maybe this will work better than I think. Something is returning. I keep getting it. Like, the past lives thing doesn't have to be literally like a different life. It could be just a different part of this life. It could be like decades ago in this life. Could be like somebody I knew when I was younger, like in school even. The energy is just like, I feel like this isn't really a match for you, but for some reason you're giving it a shot. Somebody might be love bombing you. Why is Leo giving this a chance? Four of Wands. Like, I almost feel like I need to be loyal to this situation, and maybe this energy is presenting as loyal to me. For some reason, I feel like there's a connection here that I am letting this come in. And I'm also like, well, if it doesn't work, I can always walk away from it. Maybe I can just give it a shot and just maybe get it off my list. Maybe okay. Maybe I'll give this a chance. And if it passes, it passes. Like, if it goes well, it goes well. But if it fails, maybe it'll fail well enough that I can just not have to deal with it anymore. I don't know if this is a fair analogy. I'm cringing at this because I can't believe I'm going to say this. It's kind of like, that person in the background that always wants to go on a date, or just like, oh, you're single again, blah, 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 let's do this. And you're like, I don't think this is a match. And they just don't go away. So you're like, all right, let's go on a date. And then, if I don't like it, I'm not just going to burn the bridge. I'm going to blow it up. Not saying you're going to do that, but it's kind of like, you know what, I'm sick of this hanging around. They want a chance. All right, let's see what happens. But if it doesn't work, I'm going to make sure they realize that I am going to say, I'm going to be like, this doesn't work. Like, stop bothering me. This doesn't work. Take it with them. This is the Knight of Cups. Somebody's like, oh, I feel like they're kind of love bombing you. And it's partially flattering and it's partially annoying. It's kind of like, all right, let's see if it works. If it doesn't work, though, you're going to leave me alone because I'm over it. They might not know that that's the way you're seeing it, but I feel that energy here. Kind of like, all right, they want a shot. I don't think they can hang, but all right, we'll give it a shot. I'm letting it seems like very passively, it's been kind of stuck. It just won't go away. And it's kind of like, all right, let's give it a shot. I don't know about this. They want a chance, but I feel like that's why I'm getting these two. Kind of like, all right, it either goes forward in a way that I like, or it goes away in a way that I like. Either it's going to be what I want it to be, and I'm going to like it, or it's not, and I'm going to get rid of it, and I'm going to like that part. One way or another, I'm going to get an outcome that I like. I feel like that's your energy. One way or another, I'm going to get an outcome that I like. I don't know. Because it does seem like this energy keeps lingering. And I also got the Six of Cups over here in the environment. It's something that's lingering. It's somebody that wants their chance at doing something with you. And I feel like I've walked away from it many a time, and I'm not really sure that this is a good idea, but I'm like, all right, I'll give you your chance. I just don't think it's going to work. But all right, if I'm wrong, I'd love to be wrong. There's a good moment that comes forward with this. Ironically, this person's been planning and they go all out to try to win you over with whatever they want. It doesn't have to be a romance thing. It could be a business connection. It could be working with somebody business-wise, something like that. Could be a family connection where they want to do a project with you. And they do well with it. I don't know why I'm cringing at this, but they do. Ace of Swords, they say the right things, but like, even though it's a really good moment, I feel like you're like, no, this isn't going to work. Whatever it is, even though it technically looks good on paper, you're like, no, I don't want to do this. It could be a romance thing where you're like, it seems like everything goes well, but you're like, I don't want this though. Or it could be working with somebody, or it could be doing something family-wise, a project you're doing with somebody, and you're like, all right, it worked out good, but I just don't want to do this. I feel like that's, even though it's a good moment, passing the test, that can be the thing with the Lovers. It can be a passing the test, and you're wondering, I feel like a lot of you are going to be like, but it's the Lovers card, that doesn't make sense. Well, when you see what's backing it up, you'll find out. You'll see why I'm saying that in a second. Because after it's over, you got two choices, either just to kind of like disappear and act like you never heard of this person before, which doesn't seem to work well, or kind of like let this person know, like, hey, we did this. I gave you the opportunity. I don't want to do this again. And just kind of like saying, you know what? I appreciate you putting in the effort. I appreciate you wanting to hang with me. But this, I just don't enjoy it. I think you're fine the way you are. We're just different flavors. It just doesn't work with me. I could see this more of like, you know, I've worked with people like this where it just doesn't work. I'm thinking of a specific person where their humor and the way they went about things, it just seemed like is very dry, and it just didn't work. And I've done the other where I just kind of disappeared. I'm not saying that went well. That was a bad idea, but it's been years now. Leo, you're different. I'm not a Leo. I'm Pisces, just in case you're wondering. You're different. Putting it right out there, I feel like it solves it. I feel like it puts it where it needs to go. You communicate the way you need to communicate, and that's how it goes. Are they going to stop? I feel like we have to have this moment where we have to just, sooner or later it happens either way. There's two different ways this can go. You just kind of like, hey, you know what? The project worked out good, or whatever it was, the date worked out good, whatever it was. It worked out good, but, you know, it's just, I didn't really enjoy spending time with you. No offense. I don't think there's anything wrong with you. I just think we're different flavors. And if they take that offensively, then that's on them. Because I don't feel like that has to be offensive. I know it could be hard to hear, But especially if they've been dogging at you for a long time, like, listen, I need to nip this. We need to shut this down because I don't want to do this anymore. Or you could kind of try to ghost it, but I get that sooner or later they're going to kind of like hunt you down, and something's going to happen where it becomes a lot worse than it needed to be. It'll still give you the good option. I don't say option isn't right. It'll solve the situation. It says prosperity. One way or another, it's going to end up the way it's going to end up. It can go the hard way, where it's kind of like you ghost them, but they come back around, and then there's a moment that I don't really feel like we want. Or you can just kind of nip it in the bud once you realize, like, listen, I gave you a shot, but I don't want to do this. And I think you need to respect that I don't want to do this. And you've been dogging at me for the longest time. I knew the whole time I didn't want to do this. So you won me over enough to give you a shot, but still, I don't want to do this. So stop dogging at me. It doesn't have to be the worst thing. I feel like if I kind of like try to ghost the situation, they make it more difficult for you than you need it to be. But if you go right towards it, like, listen, I gave you a chance. No, it's just no. What is this? The loyalty and the Four of Cups reversed. The energy for somebody else to accept that this isn't going to work may be very lacking. This is a card that does not like to give up. This is one of those cards where it's kind of like, if this was a person, it'd be like, oh, I've heard of people who give up. I understand the concept, but I've never done it. Or people talk about that concept a lot. Doesn't make sense to me. Like, the give up thing is not the easiest thing here. What this whole reading might be about, because I keep looking at this and I don't know. If you get to the end of this reading and this hasn't happened yet, you don't have to go through this experience, is what I'm getting. If you already know where you stand and you're like, seeing how this plays out, you're like, yeah, it's probably how this is going to go. You don't have to give somebody an opportunity if you really don't want to. It's interesting with Leo because typically you won't if you don't want to. Whatever's going on, if somebody's been dogging at you for the longest time, you're just like, well, one way or another, I'll get this. It'll solve it one way or another. You don't have to do that. I don't know what this means, especially if it's a work situation, because no matter what way this goes, everybody has their own free will. You could end up with an enemy, and that might be a problem later. So I feel like when I get to the end of this, and I'm getting the Moon card with emotional release, like, you don't have to go through this experience. If you're like, I'm not feeling it, I'm just like going through this to wrap it up one way or another. And you're like, but I'm not feeling it. I don't really want to. I just want to like try to finish it up one way or another. You don't have to do this. You could just let it linger to the side and just let it be there. If you just let it linger to the side, I don't think this energy becomes an enemy. Of course, it keeps dogging at you for the rest of your life. But if you go through it, if you go through this experience, I don't feel like this energy is positive towards you afterwards. So it depends how much that matters in this situation. I mean, take it with a grain of salt. Readings are for entertainment purposes only. I feel like when I got all the way to the end, they're like saying, you don't have to go through this. But it's like, if you don't go through this, it keeps dogging at you, but it's not negative. If you do go through this, more than likely, the person you're dealing with will be negative towards you, no matter what way you choose. So, hopefully that's helpful. I'm going to shut this down here. Hope that helps. Again, thank you very much for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.